Welcome to the Sacred Child Summit. My name is Kathleen Sherrick, and I'm your host. And I'm pleased to welcome today Lisa Rafel. Lisa is a recognized expert in vocal sound healing. She has given keynote presentations, taught workshops, led energy healing, and even guest starred on television. A singer-songwriter, playwright, producer, and published poet, Lisa has co-created several projects with Emmy-winning composer Gary Malkin, including the award-winning and clinically tested book and CD set, Safe in the Arms of Love. This CD book set supports babies and their parents to deepen the bonding process. There is also a prenatal CD called The Journey of Our Lives, and Lisa's musical play, Can You Hear Me, Baby, with music co-written by Gary Malkin as well, is being readied for 2022. You're a busy gal.
Thank you.
Wanting to protect the health of future generations and fueled by her personal revelation about the importance of bonding, Lisa founded Resonant Sounds, LLC, to increase awareness and create musical products to support the well-being of parents and their babies. She has performed her theatrical one-woman show, It's All Right to Be Naked, in Los Angeles and New York, and has sung in concerts all across the world. Her recent music video, Now is the Time, co-written with Grammy winners Lily Hayden and Atay Disraeli of Opium Moon, is a call to action to protect the environment. Her 5 Worlds Empowerment Program and her work with individuals, groups, and couples is available over Zoom. Lisa is a founding board member of the Sound and Music Alliance, a past board member of the National Perinatal Association, and currently serves on the board of APA, the Association for Pre- and Perinatal Psychology and Health. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. So wonderful to be here with you.
Well, it's wonderful to have you, and looking forward to the presentation that you're offering to our audience today. And if I understand right, we're going to be talking about Safe in the Arms of Love, the beautiful compilation, and some other things that you've done.
Thank you. Yes.
Feel free to share. Feel free to share. We can jump right in.
Okay,
I would like to ask you if we are able to do this, unless it's in your presentation there, how you got into this in the first place, because it seems like something actually personally resonated with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. So when I first had my daughter, she was 7 weeks early, and I was 19. And after she was born, she was kept in the NICU for almost 4 weeks, 3.75 weeks. And during that time, when I was in the hospital, and a couple of things happened. The first was when the contractions started, I was in joy. I was really excited, even though she was so early. And we were 2 hours away, and so we had to drive pretty quickly to get to the hospital. And fortunately, my doctor was on the ground floor of the hospital. That's where his office was at the time. I walked in. I said, I think I'm having the baby. And they're saying, no, I'm Braxton Hicks. Let me take a look. And I was 7.5 centimeters dilated. And they go, oh my God, get her upstairs. So they get me upstairs, and then they decide they need to get the baby out. And they gave me Pitocin, which changed everything. And where I had been feeling a connection to my body, now I no longer felt any capacity to be in rhythm with the waves of the contractions. I felt like I was being hit by a wrecking ball. And then they decided to put me out, and they put me to sleep. And I woke up, and the baby was in the NICU, and I was alone, and I was completely disconnected from the experience. My doctor said, go home and rest, and you'll see the baby when the baby comes home. And when I went to visit the baby, they said no touching. And I had no idea how to feel. And I had no idea how to have an experience with this child. And when she came home, I hired a nurse to help me, and then the nurse took over. And I never bonded with my daughter. So when I created Safe in the Arms of Love, it started as a series of lullabies that just came through me from all my work with sound and sound healing and consciousness. And as we produced the music and as we decided to create the book, Gary said, well, why don't you write the story of the birth of your daughter? And so I did. And as I was writing it, it was horrifying to realize that we had never bonded, my daughter and I, that there was never a intimate connection of deep trust, safety, that coherent feeling of really feeling like you're connected to your mother or connected to your daughter. And it was heartbreaking. With my second child, I did have an experience of bonding. And so how strange that it took all those years for me to wake up to the fact that I hadn't bonded with my daughter, because if you don't know something, you don't know something. You just don't know. And once I knew, then my life changed because, well, can I bond with her now? Well, what is bonding? Well, let me do some research. Let me go to the APA conferences. Let me hear about consciousness. Let me get involved with National Perinatal Association. Let me get involved with hospital procedures. And why do they stop in the hospitals? Why do they stop bonding? Why do they do that? And what kind of impact is that having on our society? So it changed my life. So thank you for asking. My daughter and I are doing pretty well now. I have discovered bonding can happen at any time. And it takes a lot of work because the wounds that are created are tender. And the defenses that are put in place to protect those wounds are strong. And to be able to penetrate through those resistances really takes an enormous commitment of unconditional love from your heart. And acceptance. Because it's not the way you wanted it to be. You know, we all have the image of the great fairy tale story that what I want for my children is definitely going to turn out, and what I want for me in my married life is definitely going to turn out, and how I see myself in the world is definitely going to turn out, and the likelihood of those things happening erodes over time. So then can you still make that complete commitment with the dreams broken?
Well, you have channeled your passion for discovering the importance of bonding into these beautiful products. Would you be willing to share some of them with us? I know that you have offered to share kind of an interactive sound experience today, and so I welcome you.
Oh, thank you. Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show these slides and really explain why I believe this is, why sound and music is so important. And while I'm sharing the slides, I'll play you some music. So let me bring this onto my screen. And now I'm going to share the screen. I'm hoping you can see this just fine.
Yes.
Oh, good. So now let me make sure I can. All right. So how it began. So I want to go back to how I began my spiritual work, which is a deep part of what I believe you're talking about in the Sacred Child Summit, which is the sacredness of life. And I was an actress for many years, and I had the opportunity after a very bad accident to go to Nepal. And in Nepal, I discovered that I didn't know anything about love. And I think if I had not gone to Nepal, I never would have realized that I hadn't bonded with my daughter, because I never would have tapped into the depth of my heart the way I did there. And the way I saw people treating each other was not how I was treated growing up. And the way it became a very magical journey where I ended up going through a number of initiations. And I ended up climbing this holy mountain called Shantipur. And when I got to the top of Shantipur, I was able to see a sunrise over Kanchenjunga, which is the second highest peak in the world. And at the moment of that revelation of light and revelation of everything is connected, and seeing the way the sunrise actually reflected light off all the Himalayas, it just opened my heart in a way I had not realized how sacred the world was. It's not that just love is sacred, but the world is sacred and people are sacred. So that became a very key part of my journey on how I wanted to understand myself in the world. Whoops. So key issues of my work are to educate about the importance of fostering and bonding of attachment, to help others to courageously build their self-awareness, their kindness, their empowerment, and their self-love, to teach how music and sound and visualization and energy work can be used for healing and deep connection, and to raise awareness, to engage dialogue and provide emotional experiences using theatrical plays, books, videos, music, so that people can actually have a cathartic experience. So they have experiences that can inform them. And I ended up making my first book. It began in Kathmandu, which is in poetry, and it's the story of my transformation in Nepal. So we live in a crazy world that is full of stress and distractions, our pace, our economic pressures, our family crises, the COVID crises. It's a crisis. And the environmental crisis create these illnesses. But everyone is trying to find a way to feel safe and in peace. And the power of sound and music does that, because sound is the least invasive, most powerful vehicle for shifting your emotional, physical, and energetic states. And it can change your state of consciousness. It penetrates all levels. It stimulates the vibratory frequencies in our body. It harmonizes our cells through entrainment. And it creates movement in the tissue in our cells in such a way that these tissues can remember natural states of health and pathways to healing. So I learned about psychoacoustic designed music through my work with sound healing, and through when I created the Sound and Music Alliance, I co-created that with a number of people. It put me in touch with a lot of sound healers and their techniques and why it was working for them. And I learned that by using the elements of rhythm and frequency and pitch and pattern and adding intention, you could make music as a powerful resource in calming, in creating states of being in the body, and to be used for bonding. So listening to psychoacoustic music, this music that I created for Safe in the Arms of Love, I'm going to demonstrate this with a song called Always in Your Heart. And Always in Your Heart was the first lullaby I wrote. So people have used this for connecting, for all kinds of ways of understanding intimacy and connection. So I'm going to play it for you. You don't hear it? Oh, I know why you don't hear it. Let me go to, I have to share the sound. So how do I get out of here? What is
Rest your head, go to sleep. Let your dreams fall away. Drop into the silent deep, where your soul can play. Breathe your breath with my breath, rocking like the ocean floor. Love is like nothing else, always there, more in store. I love you. Near or far, it doesn't matter where you are. Even apart, we're always touching hearts. We're always touching hearts. My love is strong as the wind and as wide as the sky. It's filled with joy. Can you feel it? So soft like a butterfly. La 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 la. La 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 la.
so? Thank you. So as you could hear in the song, there's a rhythm that moves you along and makes you feel like you're a part of it. The pitch is specifically designed in heart resonance. The pattern and the intention are really a part of the construction, and the instrumentation is really created to be as close to the human voice as possible. An acoustic, so the harp is acoustic. The piano, of course, is acoustic, but we have the cello, which is the closest to the heart, and also the flute. So we know that I know that everything is connected. Some people believe that. I believe that deeply. I believe that the frequency of how we live our lives is mathematical, and that we harmonize through all living beings through that mathematics, as you can see from the Nautilus shell. That's a part of the Fibonacci spiral, which lives inside the sounds that we make. It lives in all of nature. And so whether it's the connection of the heart to the mind, or the heart that we are extending, or the heart that we're surprised by, like in the sky, or the heart that's formed between other living beings, we are deeply connected. So I'm going to talk about resonance and entrainment, because these are two concepts that are very important to understand in bonding. Resonance is an attunement between two different bodies that are in the same frequency. my heart and my baby's heart will, if I put, or even with a father, so you put that naked baby after it's born on your chest, the resonant frequency between those hearts will calibrate. And that entrainment, that sympathetic vibration that happens becomes a unified field. And so you are calming the baby and the baby is calming you. And it's extraordinary. I had a situation, my son kind of believes what I talk about. And so I said, so after your baby's born, what are you going to do? And he said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I said, are you going to, different cultures handle it in different ways. Are you going to bring the baby right into the world? Are you going to keep the baby in? Some cultures keep the baby in the dark for 2 weeks. So the transition is more gentle from being in the womb into the world. They keep it quiet. But many cultures put the naked baby on your chest so that the baby feels the harmonization with your body system, and you can help to calm the baby and the baby calms you. So I left a couple of days, actually it was a day later, and my mom was visiting my son, and she called, she said, your son's doing the weirdest thing. I said, what? She said, he's got this naked baby on his chest and they're sleeping together. And I said, well, do they look peaceful? She said, yeah, they look peaceful, but it's so strange. And I realized my mother knew nothing about bonding. And perhaps I was not held. Perhaps I was a part of that generation of cry it out, make them strong, don't hold them. And my son and his children are unbelievably bonded. So this sympathetic vibration is reinforced by this reflection between the vibration of another body. And that builds entrainment. The heartbeat unto itself is entraining. That rhythmic, when one strong rhythmic vibration projects upon another, it causes the other to vibrate in resonance. So someone could play a note on a guitar string and another guitar is sitting next to it and nobody plays the note, and that string will start to vibrate. So this sonic entrainment affects our energetic vibrations and our emotions, and it influences us on a cellular level. Humming is another way of creating that bond that's separate and yet so integral to music and sound. It's the voice's way of creating that vibration. And the vagus nerve, which starts at right in the brainstem and comes through the ear, it goes down to the colon, branches out to the heart, lungs, stomach, and intestines. Those sounds that you hear yourself making through humming, or somebody else hears through your humming, can impact your hormones, your digestion, your blood sugar levels, your inflammation, your heart rate, your blood pressure. It's astounding how that nerve is connected throughout the body and becomes it's like the core river of your nervous system. And because it passes through your vocal cords and your inner ear, it creates this rhythmic vibration that has an incredible calming system on your own nervous system. So if I'm humming, so you don't hear me? You do hear me humming?
I heard you at the beginning humming.
Well, I'll come back to it after I stop sharing, because maybe it's sharing the sound on the video. So let's see if we can get me humming. But you can hum. And if you hum right now, what you'll feel is your body is vibrating, and it's vibrating in your bones. And that bone conduction is, so, how the vagus nerve is like a river through your body, the bone conduction is like the earth through your body, because it goes through the bones, and the bones are actually crystalline structure. And what we know about crystals are they put them in clocks, they put them in watches, because they hold a vibration. And that structure in your bones will hold that vibration. So when we, yes,
Lisa,
go
there are
on.
a couple of things about this that I have run into in my own interactions with parents, grandparents, and all. And that is, so humming and singing, such a beautiful thing to do with babies, young children, even as pregnant, when you're pregnant and all, or in a family that has pregnancy within it. And yet there are people who question their ability to hum. So, you know, if they feel they can't hold a tune, I mean, you have a beautiful voice, and other people may not have a similar kind of tone that they can hold. Does that affect the ability to hum or the ability to get across the intention of love?
No, it does not. And I'm going to stop share for a moment. I wonder if will I pick it up in the middle if I share again, or will I start at the top? I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm going to stop share for a moment. So let me talk about the humming. So humming is a natural behavior. It has nothing to do with pitch, unless you want it to have something to do with pitch. It's like a sigh. You're simply putting your lips together, and you're making a sound. And when I'm making the sound in my lips, I get the feeling in my lips. If I put my tongue to the roof of my mouth, and I'm still holding my lips together, I end up feeling that vibration in my chest. So you try it.
So I'm going to invite our audience to do it on their own to see if they can feel it. Now I feel that resonating in my chest, down through my legs. And you're saying this is because sound conducts through bone.
It does. It conducts through fluid. It conducts through bone. And so,
sure, fluid as well, because we are at least 70% water.
Right. And fluid actually magnifies the sound a little bit. So between the fluid in your body and the bones of your body, that sound is finding a great place to resonate.
Well, what I love about this particular teaching that you're sharing with us is that when we're holding a baby or a young child, if we can become more aware of that bone conduction, of that fluid conduction that is always part of our body, then we have a tool. We don't have to go somewhere else. We have a ready-made tool to calm, because when baby can lay in the side of their head and the side of our neck or on our chest when we're humming, that this is such a calm, it's a natural calming mechanism that I think we forget about. We might hold baby out here where we think the rocking is going to calm, when in fact, if we can calm and hum or make this some tone, then they naturally resonate.
That's true. Singing also, if people feel comfortable singing, that also creates that strong vibration. The skin itself, skin is an organ, and it's remarkable, because if you engage your heart energy and you have that baby next to the skin, in the book, I'm going to talk about this book in a minute, but in the book, we have a heart exercise so that let me see. Well, I'll find it in a minute, but it's a heart radiating exercise, because people who were not bonded themselves don't understand the importance of creating that heart resonance, because they didn't feel it themselves. So again, if you don't know, you don't know. So if they didn't feel that heart resonance, they don't know they're missing it when they love.
How do they know how to create it then as well? Are there suggestions for that?
There is. In the book, what you're going to do is you're going to pretend you're a sun.
Like
that
a
you are
sun in the sky.
A sun in the sky. And from your heart to the baby, you let the rays of the sun from the sky, which is now your heart in your imagination, you're letting those rays bathe the baby. And it's a physiological experience. Our imaginal realm is, I like to say in my classes, our imaginal realm is real. Because once you create the imaginal container, what you notice right away is that your body will respond. So it's not, your imagination is the key to so much, and your body will respond to that intention. So I am going to be, it's not I'm pretending to be, I am going to be the sun in my chest, and I'm going to feel the heat of the sun in my chest.
And
I'm going to,
and perhaps even I am the sun.
you could be, however it works for you. And sometimes a key word is I'm going to allow myself to be the sun. I'm going to invite myself to be the sun. Because when we tell ourselves to do something, there is a natural reaction that goes, well, I'm not so sure about that, you know? But if you invite yourself to do something, then the inner child body, the inner person body, the inner soul body, the inner mind body, that invitation creates curiosity. And then the curious mind goes, well, how would I do that? Okay, well, I'll let myself be the sun. And that permission is so much easier than other ways of doing it. So I'm going to let myself be the sun. Whoa, there it is. I feel it. I'm going to let myself be the sun. I'm going to send it to my baby. And I can see these in my imaginal realm. I can see these rays of, and I'm going to keep feeling it. Now I'm not going to even see it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it go to the baby. And that does two things. One, the baby feels it, because you're in a resonant field, like I've just talked about. You created sympathetic resonance. You're the stronger, dominant force, and the baby entrains to that force. And two, you feel it. And when you feel it and you exercise that muscle of feeling, it becomes easier and easier and easier to do.
So it sounds like babies in utero, I believe their hearing and listening is the first sense to develop.
That's coming in the next slide. Let me take you back in. Let's see if this works. I'm going to screen share and I'm going to go back here. Yes, I am here. So the music, by the way, is in the book. It's also available online. But the book is gorgeous. So let me talk about the pilot study we did first, because then I'm going to tell you about that. We decided to test the music. I wanted to know if the music was delivering what I had hoped it would deliver. So our first pilot study was in San Jose, California. And as you can see, we used 18 mothers. Some were in utero, some postpartum, cross-cultural, socioeconomic mixed, age 23 to 34, education, high school to graduate degrees. They all had partners. They all listened to 35 minutes of the music from the book while they were being tracked for coherence by HeartMath software. And all the mothers responded positively and felt increased relaxation. They demonstrated heart rate variability, coherence, and many said they felt the baby in the womb calm down. And they really liked the music. This was excellent, you know, so we were encouraged. So we decided to do a clinical study. So we did a clinical trial at St. Peter's Hospital in New York, which was run by the nurses. We had 25 mothers of infants in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care units, where the babies are monitored. And what we did was we had the mothers listening to the music, but not the babies. So the mothers had noise canceling headphones on, and they were just either first they held the baby, and then they listened to the music, and then they held the baby. And we watched the vitals of the baby. And it was so amazing. Their babies had their heart rate slowed, their respiration slowed, they became more calm, they had increased oxygen saturation. They showed less pain from the empath scores, and the parents were overwhelmingly positive that they felt an increase in calmness, reduced stress for both them, and they could feel it in the baby. So the conclusion, of course, is when the mother was calmed through the psychoacoustic music, the premature baby who did not hear the music was calmed and showed an improvement. So, hello, let's take a moment to think about that.
Well, something that seems really critical in that is that the baby is not directly listening to the music.
That's right.
And so this is a prime example of the resonance and then entrainment.
Right.
Between mother and baby.
That's right. And it's like a big duh. You know, you want to say to your doctor, your pediatrician, you want to say to your obstetrician, or, you know, midwives know this, but in the hospitals, they don't always know this, that I need time to be with this baby in calm. So because we live in this highly distractible world, we decided that making 35 minutes of music was a good amount of time to put boundaries up on your life. And so you put the music on and you take that 35 minutes just to be with the baby. So you're right. At 7 weeks, a fetus is sensitive to touch. At 14 weeks, a fetus can taste and smell. 14 to 16 weeks, a fetus begins to hear. And by 31 weeks, they can see. Unborn babies are affected by their mother's thoughts, feelings, words, and behavior. So, there. I just wanted to point this out because we have had increased scientific documents and articles that what is happening in the prenatal stage in the womb is incredibly important on how we care for these babies in the womb. So finding the calm inside your life when you're with the baby, and to talk to the baby, by the way, because babies in the womb are conscious, and we are challenged. We are challenged endlessly with digital distractions. The lower left picture really bothers me, where the baby is nursing and the mother's on the phone. You know, and we have a newborn and the mother's on the phone, and we believe that the baby is not being baby's not being damaged, but the baby is not being connected. So it's like I'm a little baby and I go, Mom, where are you? What happened? Where did you go? So we also created music for prenatal from the journey of our lives. So I'm going to play you a cut from the prenatal music. And I'll tell you a little story about this after I play it. And I talk in it, so I'm setting up the scene in the song.
Can you hear me, baby? Tucked inside my belly. Do you know your mama's voice? Who loves you so? Can you hear me, baby? Tucked inside my belly. Do you know your mama's voice, who loves you so? Can you hear me, angel, in my nest that's holding you? Soon our touch will comfort you. Oh, listen through the waters. Listen to my heart. Hear my voice. Feel my voice. Sail in an ocean from heaven. Waves of sounds to your ears, while you snuggle in my belly. These songs make time disappear.
So we created these songs to really tap into the emotional connection of relating to the baby. And we have one that's they're gorgeous. And like in Safe in the Arms of Love, we have the interstitial music also to help calm down. So my intention while I was singing these songs and writing these songs was to bring in the heart. And when we bring intention into it, we can feel that in ourselves. And what we think while we make that sound, whether you're talking to the baby, whether you're singing to the baby, it can affect our experience. So how did that feel to you, Kathleen?
Oh, well, lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Whoop, I don't hear your sound. Well, maybe because I'm sharing. Let me stop sharing.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Nope, I still can't hear your sound.
Okay. I'm going to keep trying because it sometimes just magically turns on. Okay.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I'm just going to talk for a minute about the book while I have that book up in my head. So in the book, I'm going to read you this little poem that's in the book. And it goes, the sounds sprinkle down, down, down into the skin, through the skin, into the water that surrounds a little soul. The sounds enter the little ears, so newly formed, still swimming in the liquid of life. Beat, beat, goes the mother's heart. Swoosh, swoosh, the sounds come and go. This is the music of you, a symphony in swirling tides, bathing each fiber of this new and precious life. And we have an article about your baby is listening, and how the sounds of your words become vibrations the baby can hear. We talk about the prenatal impact of the music and the sound. We talk about the importance of music and of the bond. And we give 5 essential ways to support bonding and connection.
Can you tell us what they are,
Touching
Lisa?
your baby skin to skin, massaging, eye contact, singing and speaking in a tender way, and playing with your baby. So I hope, and also as I was talking about earlier, that heart resonance. So I'm going to share the screen again. And by the way, the book's been translated into Chinese, yay. And if anyone out there is interested in translating it into another language, please do let me know. Right now we're looking for Spanish, but I'm very open to other languages. Oh, I hear you, Kathleen.
Oh, you can hear me?
I do.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
This is, I have a couple of questions for you. Did you have other slides that you wanted to share?
Just a few more.
All right, go ahead.
So I want to tell you about the play, but do you want to ask a question first before I get here?
I have a couple of questions, yes.
Okay,
So,
go.
So the whole notion of resonance seems to be things that are similar and becoming similar. What about dissonance? What about how do we know as parents, as grandparents, family members, if a sound is resonant or is dissonant? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So, well, not only can you hear it, you can feel it. So when something is resonant, there's a sense of calm. You feel a sense of peace. You feel a sense of opening and a sense of connectivity. When something is dissonant, it's like something is off. Something is kind of, dissonance can create curiosity. It can create uncomfortability. It can create negative emotions. So if I'm feeling dissonant with my husband, like something is going on, we're starting to have this little tiff, I feel it as dissonance. And then the question is, will I become curious about it so I can go back to resonance? Because curiosity brings resonance. Or will I stay in the dissonance looking for power and how to win? So I can overcome the dissonance. And dissonance can melt away if you move back into resonance.
And so the psychoacoustics that you have applied here, we can't necessarily find that in every CD we find, or the music that we might hear on the radio, or some of the genres we might be most familiar with, or that might resonate with us from another time in our lives, for example.
Right.
And so I have 2 questions, and one is, if we're not able to be around psychoacoustical music, is there another option to that? And I'll ask the second one after you answer that.
Sure. So the fact that I'm using the rhythm, the tempo, the pitch, the intention, the way I am, so it's very conscious, it is being employed by some other people. But you'll hear it if a person is actually resonating from their heart within a certain range of frequency. So it's embedded in the way people actually will apply it, because they'll think, well, I want music to be calm. Well, if it's going to be calm, then so if calm music, very spacious music will give you that feeling. Very spacious music.
So when you talk about the tempo and the rhythm, I think you're talking about mother's heartbeat, baby's heartbeat, and kind of the flowing of the blood through the body. Those kinds of things in utero create a natural rhythm. Is that right?
That's true. And the baby's heartbeat is much faster than the mother's. And so if you're wanting to entrain to the baby's heartbeat, it's going to be like this, which might be useful for the baby at some point. And it's an experiment I've been thinking about. But for resonating with the heart of the mother,
It's a 3/4 beat, isn't it? 3/4.
It's one. I don't know how you're thinking that. I'm thinking of from the Native American heartbeat drum. So it's bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, bum bum. So my background is indigenous, so it's from the Native American. But you're saying 3/4. I'm interested.
3/4 time is what I understood the heartbeat to be.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Sure. 1, 2, 3. Absolutely.
And so if you have parents who are interested in different genres of music, maybe calming music isn't something they would immediately gravitate towards. I'm just thinking of, different scenarios. If someone is interested in a certain genre that is not, there's classical, there's rap, there's country, there's heavy metal, there's pop, there's all these different genres.
Yeah.
If they are more inclined to do one or the other genre, how does that affect baby? Is there something that we need to be aware of if we've been listening to different genres our whole life rather than a calm kind of music?
Well, it's really what calms you, as the parent. So, I mean, if I'm listening to heavy metal, I'm not calm. Now, I might be distracted. I might be entrained into a disassociated state. So I'm not in my body and I'm just in the sound. I might need that for stress reduction. I might need to be distracted for stress reduction. And so using that, if you tell the baby first, that's the key. If I say, hey, Junior, I'm about to put on really intense music. Don't be worried, because this really helps my system to calm down. Let's dance together. That consciousness of the baby, really, I mean, I have spoken to so many people and doctors and research people. When you talk to the baby, and to midwives, when you talk to the baby will help to be born. So there's that connection where you're really giving the baby a heads up, and does that calm you? I don't know that would calm you. So what would calm you? Maybe the sound of the ocean. Maybe if you don't like music, you could do white noise sound. Maybe you could hum. If you do like classical music and you're into Mozart, maybe that works for you. An old friend of mine, Don Campbell, who's no longer listening, maybe he's still listening, but he's not living.
It's the first sense and the last sense.
Yeah, he might still be listening. He died quite a while ago, but he might still be listening. He wrote a book called The Mozart Effect. And so, science has proven that entrainment works. And science has proven that we have certain brain wave construction. And when we are in different levels of our brain, it affects the nervous system of our body. And so if we let ourselves drop into a calm place, I think spacious music is a wonderful way. Acoustic spacious music, whatever though makes you calm.
I think that's a great way to explain it. It really is, because people are so individual with our life experiences and with where we may be at any point in life around children, having children, hosting children. And so I think that's a beautiful way to put it, whatever makes you calm. And as long as we have that awareness of what makes us calm versus what takes us somewhere else. And again, the communicating with baby in utero as an infant and at whatever age they may be, very important points. Thank you so much for reminding of us of this.
Thank you. Also, once the baby's born, it's really important to give heads up on what's about to happen. Otherwise, babies go into trauma, like we would. If I'm being given a shot and I don't know it's coming, and suddenly I feel something in my arm, I'm going to be alert. my adrenaline is going to shoot up. My nervous system is going to go, what's that? Am I in danger? If I say to the baby, because I know the baby needs to get this shot, if I say to the baby, so here's what's going to happen. There's this little kiss of medicine that's going to come to your arm. And the way this kiss works is it has to come in through the needle. And so I'm going to put this needle, and you can watch it if you want, because it's amazing how this kiss of medicine can come into your body and help your body to heal. And then the baby goes, as opposed to.
So considering it a conversation, a two-way conversation from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to tell you about the play, because.
Is this a play that's coming up in 2022?
We're hoping.
Okay.
We're hoping. It started in, I'm going to take you off share for a minute. It started in Massachusetts. My husband was CEO at a very large organization, yoga organization called Kripalu, and we had moved there for a couple of years. And I was taking it as a sabbatical from my teaching, and I'll talk a little bit about my teaching in a minute. But I saw a friend of mine, Tony-nominated actress Jane Atkinson, direct a play called Motherhood Out Loud, which was stories about motherhood. And I thought, gee, I'd love to do that about babies and birth. So I said, what if I did that? She said, well, send me some stories and we'll think about it. And so I went out and interviewed moms and dads and doulas and midwives and doctors and everybody I could find. And I got all these amazing stories that I wrote into dialogues and monologues and scenes. And then we created music for some of them. And then Jane got very excited and we produced it as a staged reading in Massachusetts at the Berkshire Festival of Women's Writers. And then we presented about the play at the National Perinatal Association because the scenes and stories were so moving to people. And a woman there decided she wanted to produce this for the professionals that lived in Binghamton, New York. And I rewrote the play into having a central storyline and still keeping stories and songs. And that went over so well. I was inspired to think, well, what if we created a real musical out of this material? And so Gary and I have been actively working to create a real musical play, which is close now. And we do have some support coming in. So we're excited about that because the play really touches into how this couple handles an unexpected pregnancy. And it's funny and it really touches into their wounds, it touches into their families, and it touches into what is a heartfelt connection between them. How do they make that commitment when this big change happens in their life? So we're very excited about that.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
And then I just wanted to tell you about my teaching. So I'm just going to share a screen again for 1 minute. So I teach a course called The 5 Worlds, and I do this online. I also work with individuals and with couples, with groups, with small groups, to help people to understand that they are powerful and that what they believe and how they enact that into the world is an extraordinary gift, that everyone is a gift to the world. And how do you bring that into your relationships and to how you live? So as a part of that, because the environment is such a big deal, I created a video last year with, as you said, with Lily Hayden and Itai, and they won the Grammy last year for Best New Age Album. And so I created this video, and I'd like to show it to you because it really touches into what kind of world are we living for our children. So Can I do this for you now?
This sounds
Great.
like a beautiful way to wrap up our conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, whoops, I don't hear it. Oh, I know why. Just a minute. Let's see if you hear it now. Do you hear it?
I'm angry about pollution, but I don't know what to do, so I've decided I'm going to talk to you. There are people who forget that nature must thrive. Those people don't see what's right before their eyes, that our planet is polluted. It affects your life and mine. What can we do? That is the question of our time. That's the question of our time. Nature's the source of our living will. When we are born, she's in us in every cell. She's the force moving forward. She's what keeps us alive. She gives us our answers through the earth and the sky. Pay attention to the earth and the sky. When we forget, when we forget to be grateful, we forget to be kind. When we forget to be grateful, we forget we're alive. We forget we're alive. We forget. This is our story, yours and mine, and the story of our children's children. You and I, can we protect their lives? That's the question of our time. Life is filled with choices. It's for more than to just survive. We're creatures of hope. We strive to create, to do something that matters before we reach our grave. But to nature, it's simple. It's in nature's call to exist. We exist. We exist for us all. When we forget to be grateful, we forget to be kind. When we forget to be grateful, we forget to be kind. When we don't use our voice, we forget we're alive. If we forget and destroy, it affects all our lives. It affects all our lives. When nature's destroyed, if you think we're still safe, that's a lie. If we lose touch with grace, we grow or we die. There's no room for doubt. Hoping won't help us. The only way out is to see that we're here, where we are and what's right. Now is the time to put up a fight. Put up a fight. Remember, if we let nature thrive, we grow more alive. Let's use our voice. Don't give up or deny that this is the question of our time. This is the question of our time. Nature's the heartbeat. Tell me, what do you see? At stake is our children's destiny. Out of our will lies the future we birth. The truth is around us, we're in heaven on earth. The truth is around us, we're in heaven on earth. The truth is inside us. Don't forget to be grateful, don't forget to be kind. Don't forget to be grateful, don't forget to be kind. Don't forget to be don't forget.
So
Thank you, Lisa.
you're welcome. Please, for people, just learn to hear and feel your own voice, trust in your own intelligence. And if you want to contact me, this is how to do it. So
We will have information accompanying this video for that. And I'm going to stop sharing at the moment.
yep, I just stopped it.
There we go. And so powerful images, powerful music. This is part of your life's work. And thank you for sharing today what really emanates from your heart and from your passion here. Because I think that there are so many beautiful concepts now supported by science that you have presented to us here today. And some of those phrases in the movie, let's not forget, and nature has its own heartbeat.
Yeah. And don't forget to be grateful. Don't forget to be kind.
Don't forget to be grateful. Don't forget to be kind. Lisa, Rafel, thank you so much for spending your time with us today, for bringing us to another level of understanding of the beauty of sound and all of the many ways that we can use it with our babies, with our children, with ourselves, with our own inner child. Because even as you have created so many beautiful products and this beautiful book CD combination, that it is not just for babies, because adults can calm. I was calm listening to this. So
well, people are using it for inner child work. And once we had one woman write to us and just say, I was playing the music for my new baby, but my 12-year-old came into the living room and put his head down on my shoulder and just would not leave,
This is the beauty of what you're creating. So thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you're doing. First of all, let me just make sure this comes from my heart to you as we say goodbye. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for this summit and for bringing this more into the world. Very, very grateful. Thank you.
It's a process of hearts, isn't it?
It is.
Connecting hearts. So thank you, Lisa. And for more information, we said about Lisa, about her work, about her products, and about the upcoming excitement about the play and all happening, check the links that accompany this video. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great